What if a simple change in your texting system could add 25% or more to your revenue in the next 2 months?
Month one, month two, close rate for month one was up like 40%. Close rate month two was up 20%. So together it ended up being for both months for the 60 days that we ran the split test, an increase in closing of 30%.
Woof.
Just imagine yourself getting the experience of those spam texts where you're like, it comes from these like random numbers. You're like, what's that? Like, if you think that experience and then think like that's a person trying to text me that I'm going to get on a phone with, it feels really weird. And then think the experience of, oh, wow, I just got a text from my friend and I got this voice note and he sent me a little GIF. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a real person. When I hop on the call, it's a different experience.
I'm here today with Jesse from the Wing Girl Method, and he ran a real world split test with over 1,000 booked calls using Alloware, a green SMS texting platform, versus Sendblue, Blue Bubbles, iMessage, and CRM. And I want to throw it over to Jesse now to introduce himself from the Wing Girl Method. Jesse, tell us a little bit about what you do and how texting plays a role in your sales process.
Yep. So I'm Jesse. I'm CEO slash CMO for Wing Girl Method. And with texting, we use that for our whole sales team. We also use that for support. And so over the last few months, I had a friend, Hunter, who was like, dude, you got to check out Sendblue. You got to check out Blue Bubbles. We're using it and it's helped a lot. And so for our sales team, for all of the booked calls we get, we traditionally with HubSpot, we use Alloware because it integrates really nicely, but it's not anything like Sendblue. Like it doesn't come from an iPhone message. You can't do any of that stuff. And so I was like, okay, we'll give it a shot. And yeah, so I mean, essentially our sales process is people will buy low ticket products, we generate leads, and then we nurture those leads. Eventually we say, hey, you should probably hop on the phone with us and we can figure out what's the best path for you and what's really going to help give these guys the right path and the right mentorship moving forward. When they do that, they go through an application for us to get all the data. And once they get an application, that's when the texting begins. So when we get an application submitted, then we're like, hey, we're going to text these guys because we actually want to have a real like one-to-one interaction. And so we do that. We've done that through Alloware where we really have real people responding. And then we've done that through Sendblue. And that's where the split test came into place is we ultimately wanted to get higher close rates. We wanted to obviously make more money. We want to help more guys. We want to have a better experience for guys and we want to have a higher show rate. Like that was the main thing we wanted to do and get guys to respond more.
Can you tell us a little bit about this environment? I mean, you ran a true split test here. How did you do that? Was it one lead coming in, the next lead coming in, this one goes to the Blue Bubble line, this one goes to the Alloware line?
Yep. So I essentially did a branch. So HubSpot, once an application is submitted, I did a 50-50 branch where it just went path one, but path one was Alloware and path two was Blue Bubbles or Blue Text. And it was the exact same workflow. So didn't want to change anything. I didn't want to change the words. I didn't want to change the messages, the voicemails, none of that. I wanted to see, does sending from like an iPhone, if that's the only thing that changes, does that make a difference?
So no copy changes, no changes in the timing of the messages, just this comes from an iPhone, this comes from an A2P green bubble line. That's the test environment.
That was it. Because we're in the process of we have to get more lines from you guys to be able to withstand the volume. So we're in the process of switching everything over.
Let's get right into it. What people probably want to hear, they want to know what were the results from the test. We're talking about booked appointments. We're talking about closed deals. We're talking about revenue generated, dollars per lead. These are the metrics that you were telling me about that really, really got impacted. And why do you think they were impacted so much?
I mean, I just put it through Claude. That way we had it. So first, just going through these booked calls, we had Alloware texting is up top, Sendblue or Blue Text is at the bottom. Book calls are going to be about the same because again, it was a 50-50 split. Where it gets interesting and something we do have statistical significance on is the dollars per lead and the essentially like the close rate of the leads. Because we tested this month one, month two, close rate for month one was up like 40%. Close rate month two was up 20%. So together it ended up being for both months for the 60 days that we ran the split test, an increase in closing of 30%.
Woof.
Was on every single lead that came through. And so another thing we saw just from the support team side is there was just a lot more engagement and connection when people were texting us because they were actually like, it didn't feel impersonal. It felt personal. So we were able to get the the feeling of like somebody, literally a sales rep texting them one-to-one, we were able to get that feeling without actually having to have all of our sales reps contact every single person individually like you normally would if you want to have that experience.
Amazing. So dollar per lead and close rate, you said was up about 30% on the Blue Bubbles.
I can't get the data on all of it. What I do know is that it was significant enough that we're like, hey, we need to roll this out like fully because we're going to make an extra 30% of revenue per month. And so I was like, I can't not do this.
I mean, $50,000 extra in revenue is no joke. That would have been $100,000 more if all of those leads were coming to the Blue Bubble. If you guys are watching this and you want to boost your revenue, close more deals, just like Jesse did, there'll be a link somewhere down below so you can check out sendblue.com and we'll text you a demo with our Blue Bubble line. We get to use our tool in our sales process, which is pretty cool. If you like this breakdown, make sure you subscribe to this video. Jesse, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us here. Are there any final thoughts that you have for anyone that might be watching, thinking about Blue Bubbles?
I'd say there's no risk to trying it. And especially if you're a business owner or you have a sales team, it is your job to find the tech, the things that are going to grow the business. This is one of those things that it'd be crazy not to test, because we all know, like we have all had that experience of like having like a real message from somebody versus just getting spam texted. Like, you know the difference, I know the difference. And that's the difference that your customers feel too. If you don't start to make it to where they have a good experience the whole way, like you're just going to be left behind.
You got it. You rock, Jesse. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone watching.